Okay. Hello, Ricky. How you doing?
Yeah, welcome to the next episode of Ricky's Edutainment. Today we have one of our students who moved to UK about, I guess, 3 years ago,
I think in
and
2022 in September.
September, right? But
Yes.
wonderful. And then you completed your masters in what called as cybersecurity from
Yes.
Bradford,
Yes. You're
right?
correct.
Right. So we have our guest today, Neil Savio Coates, and the best thing which happened with him was that he got a job in UK. That's
Ah,
always been quite challenging for many students of ours who have been struggling in UK at this point in time. So the forum is yours, Neil. Neil, if you just start with saying about your journey, how you started, and when did it trigger the point that you have to be in UK to complete your masters. Please go ahead.
uh, First of all, Ricky, thank you for letting me come on the podcast today and let me speak and let me share my views with the world. Secondly, let me start about myself. Hi, guys. My name is Neil. I am from Mumbai and I was always driven into tech. And it was one of my friend who actually pushed me to go to the UK. His name is Mayur, my very special friend. And
Okay.
after that, we joined and we went to the UK and we did our cybersecurity over there from the University of Bradford, which is a really good university. They gave you thorough pointers as to what you have to do. They taught us different things. Like I would really suggest a lot of people to get into cybersecurity, but because it's a very leading field, and nowadays you understand everything is digital. You need to make sure that you're safe, secure on whatever platform you're using. But in cybersecurity, they give you details how to secure others. Like commonly nowadays, a lot of people get phished, a lot of scams are happening, a lot of stuff happening. So in the University of Bradford, they taught us various other tools like from Wireshark to Metasploit to how to do phishing, but obviously on a safer end and not to scam people. But it's
Hmm.
one thing that University of Bradford was a very good university, and I would thank the Professor Amna and Mr. Karim over there for the best.
Okay, wonderful. So I would like to ask you, Neil, as in the difference between the studies in UK and, of course, you also did your PG in cybersecurity from Mumbai University. So, what
Yes.
difference had you observed?
So I did my PGD, bachelor, post graduation diploma in information technology and cyber law from the University of Mumbai. It was a 1 year degree, and comparatively to the master's degree that I am doing in the UK, it was much more thorough. There were open book examinations though in UK, but they weren't really easy because nothing is available openly. It's not like an open source resource or something that you're looking at. Whereas over here, there was like strict book to book. Like if you have a book, you study from the book, the answer is going to come from the book for you in Mumbai. Whether in the UK, it's open book. You have to research, you have to do. So I recollect that I had around 6 subjects, I guess, and from the 6 subjects, 4 subjects were open book exams where you just had to present your assignment, do your assignment, and that's it. And well as networking and another cryptographic, that was maths and algorithms. Those were very tough, but there was a written paper. But praise God that we got through from it.
Okay. Uh, Another thing I wanted to ask you, especially with those experienced candidates who are moving to UK or Europe for that matter, how difficult it is for them to manage their day-to-day activities, such as their rents, their travel to the universities, and their well-being of everyday's expenditures. How well they are managing? Are they able to find those part-time jobs?
I mean, to be very honest, I have lived in 3 cities till date. The first be Bradford, second be Leeds, and the third is Stoke-on-Trent, where I'm currently at. But Bradford was the cheapest place. So honestly speaking, I'm not calling any city cheap, but it's just that the standard of living differs from place to place. So like if you get take a college in say London, now you'll spend most of your money only in traveling to and for to college. Your expenses or your rent will be as good as someone's full-time salary over there. So personal suggestion as a newbie in the UK, just go to smaller places, hit smaller cities where rents are cheaper, travel is cheap, and you don't have to worry about uh, like like one of the main things is the bills over there. So when I was thinking personally in Bradford, Me and my friend Mayur, we had this problem where our bills shot up till 600 pounds. That's like around
Okay.
six. That's like around 60,000 rupees. And we were like, damn, what do we do about this? Like, So that's when we realized that the cost of living in the UK is really high. And we personally suggest go for smaller cities till you're not well to do to go head off to London. But then if you have the money, I wouldn't say anything. You can go for what you want to do.
Okay. Okay. So, in terms of a job, because most of the people here back in India, if they are
Mhm.
planning to go to UK, at least they would wanted to get an international exposure. That's okay if somebody would not be eligible for a PR or he cannot get the sponsored visa later on. But
Okay.
for the freshers, somebody move to UK and say like, let me complete my 1 year masters and then at least 2 years I can have an exposure with an
Uh-huh.
international community. And if they come back to India again, then there would be a wider scope any which way. So, will those options available for the fresher students?
I'll be very honest with you, Ricky. So what's happening in the UK is you go to any employer and they'll be like, oh, okay, so you're a fresher. So might as well they might give you the job, they might not give the job. They're like, we need someone a little more experienced. This is the basic thing everywhere.
Hmm.
It's not only in the UK. They want you to have the job, but they're like, you don't have experience for the job. Now, fine, you get the job, you come back to India, you'll be preferred by each and every company in India because people want want in international exposure. So if you have international exposure and you come back to India, it's a lovely, lovely setting for you, Vicky.
Okay, great. And so let's talk about cybersecurity because that's the
Yes.
booming industry.
Oh, it
And
is. It
of
is.
course, yeah, and of course, in India, I do have many students of mine, especially the one who have studied, say, BSc Computer Science or Computer Engineering. They wanted to, per
Okay.
se, make their career in cybersecurity.
Okay.
So, as an UK point of view, I completely understand there are plenty of jobs. What about India? I mean, have you thought maybe in future you will come back to India and then what kind of scope you will have it over here?
So see, firstly, I'll tell you about how I started my career. Okay. Is now for the base of cybersecurity, you require to know networks and you to require to know codes. Now, code is when you actually going to deep dive into cybersecurity. But if as a fresher, you can just learn like basic examples. Like I learned CCN is Cisco networking. I went into Microsoft server management. Then I did my CEH. Then I did my cyber law to understand the different laws that protect cybersecurity. Now, as a
Correct.
fresher, I would tell the person to first learn CompTIA plus, then do ECEH practical. Now, if you don't have the funds to do all of that, and you still want to get into cybersecurity, you can try virtual labs like what is that lab called? It's called Try Hack Me. That's
Hmm.
something is that you don't need to have the devices, nothing. It's all a virtual thing, and you learn practically everything from A to Z about cybersecurity in that, for at the minimal fee of I think 1,000 rupees a month, which is really cheap, which will help you get into the industry of cybersecurity. Once you're in, there's money is never ending, and it's the best, the blooming industry. Because see, understand any company that comes up, they need to have security on the application. Any company growing up, they need to secure their machines. Anywhere you go, cybersecurity is the very first place. You develop a new application, you get a new product, you get a new device. Everything need to be secured through cybersecurity because the reason being, hackers are everywhere.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct, correct.
your
Right,
money, your data is their gold. So we need to
right,
make sure that we are not fished, to make sure that we do not get scammed, and all our hard earnings are with us only.
right. Fantastic. So UK being always quite lenient in terms of human values, and of course they treat everyone equally. Have you ever experienced anything called as a racism in UK?
So I'll be very honest with you, Ricky. Racism is not direct ever. Okay,
Okay.
it's like I'll give you a random example as to when I was in the airport line in Heathrow, and there's a white lady who was actually going through the line, going scanning the line to see who to pull out for a random check. Now I was the only colored man in that line, and suddenly she just pulls me and it's like, oh, this is just a random check, and she went me go X-ray and do everything. So it's not direct. Like they won't tell you, oh, you're a colored man, you can come here. That is not the thing because they can be penalized because there are laws now protecting people for racism. So that is a good thing. But indirectly cannot be stopped. But it's all in from people to people. There are different mentality people. Like I have a lot of people who are black friends. I have a lot of people who are white people. But it's all in their mind. If they have been brought up the different way or how they treat people, how they see people, we can't. You can change the law, but you can't change people's perspective about things. You know, Ricky.
Got it. Fantastic. What about the safety thing, especially with the students who are moving abroad? And lately, we had seen, pictures of burning cars and the malls. There were riots happening in several
Yes.
parts of the United Kingdom. So,
Yes.
how difficult for these Indian students, if they may get into this kind of weird situation?
Okay. Uh, I think your video stuck, Ricky. Ricky,
I think
your
there was
video.
some disconnect.
I think there
Hold
was
on.
some.
Did you understand my question?
Yes. How safe is it for Indian students to be in such a situation?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, so be honest with you, Ricky. I'll tell you the exact reason as to what happened was there was a small kid. Okay, I think East European family. They had five children or three or four children, and they should stay in Leeds, the same town I should stay. It's pretty expensive.
Hmm.
It's a nice town. The child fell from the first floor or something like that. Okay, so as a rule that you cannot take care of one of your child, how are you supposed to take care of the remaining four now?
Okay.
Okay, so the child protection laws are there. So if you damage one, the others might be at risk. So the government came and took all of the children. Now, as a
Correct.
retaliation to this, the entire community of their caste or their countries, citizens, they revolted, started burning, they pushing, and UK police, being UK police, they try to solve it decently and then come back to you. But it is not a it doesn't harm any Indian students as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
There's no
Hmm.
problem with
Yes.
for students because I've been roaming out freely where there was nothing. It is just in certain parts where you just need to avoid. You need to be smart. You need to be street smart. You need to make sure that you're not going out the wrong places. That's basic. I think everyone in India also does the same. Would you go out to take a stroll at 4 o'clock in the morning? No, you wouldn't. Yeah. So
Correct.
it's
Correct.
the same
Perfect.
concept, but it is. But remember one thing: you can never be like I'll give you an example. You cannot be raped on those roads, or you cannot be stabbed on those roads or something like that. How it is back in India. It is much more safer, it is much more better, it's cleaner life. Talk about air quality, it is really clean.
Hmm.
Also.
Great. So recently, what happened was I met one of the guy. In fact, his son who moved to UK, and after a year he came back. He's
Okay.
this fellow is from the business community. So he
Okay.
met me and he said that, you know what, Ricky, even if I would have to invest more than a crore, it doesn't matter to me because the kind of transformation I have seen in my son, the way he's managing my business is something which is extraordinary. This is
Yes.
something which I'm always expecting.
Yes.
Some kind of miracle would happen with him, and then this is the way a lot of people from the business fraternity or the business community, they prefer to send their children to UK, is because of that highest education standards. So do you agree that the standards are really par as compared to most of the countries?
So let me get you right there. So when you're studying in India, you're just a bookworm. You're just like reading, you're reading, understanding, listening, and putting implementing. But in the UK, they make you study, you understand it, they make sure you understand it, they give you homework on top of that. So to make sure that you are doing something and working on it, and they evaluate what you have done and what you have learned after every lecture.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did with us in cybersecurity. So now it's not only being a bookworm, it's being about how practically you and how you can practically put it into situations. So your example where you said your friend's son came back and he started handling his own business. So he obviously has been doing all his modules on time. He's been submitting everything, and he has proper understanding as to what falls where, and that's why he is running the business show very good for him.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So let me ask you about the climate, the weather
Oh,
perspective, because I certainly understand, and I've heard about from many students that the student from northern part of India, they are okay with it because obviously
mhm.
the weather, especially the winter, is something which is little on the higher side. So what about the student from Mumbai and Gujarat and these regions, the West India? How do they cope up with those climate?
So number one is you need jackets like these, okay?
Hmm.
And with thick hoods, I suggest you do not purchase a jacket from here from India because the quality of material that you purchase and you take it there is not going to work for you. Okay,
Hmm.
maybe for now, just before when you're going, just carry one jacket. Go to Primark, get the right material, get the right choice, get thermals very needed. Okay, make sure you have gloves also on, and make sure you're having good shoes. Indian shoes do not fit anywhere in the UK because the Indian quality
Correct.
shoes do not work. It is number one. It's zero. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. I can just tell you that, because personal experience. I could feel the cold through my shoes. Okay, and you need thick socks.
Mhm.
Make sure you're buying thick socks, and thermals is very important. Also, another pro tip: whenever you're taking any housing, make sure you're taking housing with bills because that's where you
Hmm.
can heat yourself up with those heaters that are present in the house. You can get small oil heaters. Most of the landlords tell it's illegal, but I don't know. It's on person to person as to how you can bear. You know.
Fantastic tips. Yeah, correct, correct. Good. So tell me now, this is something which I think a lot of viewers are waiting for. How
Okay.
easy or difficult to obtain a sponsored visa in UK?
Okay. So this is a question that even I'm struggling currently. Okay.
Hmm.
But there are various options to get through that also, which I will come to on this point.
Hmm.
Sponsored visas nowadays, only if you're say if I talk in IT, if you're on a third line role or above, and then that's where you may get it. Care workers, where they take care of elderly people, children, and or such kind of patients. Hospitals,
Hmm.
hospital institutions, government organizations, council firms, and law and immigration firms. These are the only places that provide sponsorship currently, because right now they firstly when you apply for a sponsorship for a person, they ask you, did you check the entire talent pool in the UK and did it get exhausted? That's why you're getting a new talent from outside the country. That's the first question
Hmm.
that the employers have to give an answer to the home office. They have to show evidence that, see, we have finished our pool. We need this person. We need for some. Now, I'll give you an example. Like, say, if you're going in for IT support, okay,
Hmm.
anyone can provide IT support, and they cannot tell you that, oh, that pool is over. There's a million more people there. How can you say the pool's over? So one of the main
Correct.
reasons people do not get sponsorship is because they go in as low level employees. Okay, I suggest anyone listening to this podcast to, to get good work experience, go to a nice level of where you're working in your career, get a job, go to the UK through Ricky because he did the best job, very smooth, very perfectly, and get a job. And then after that, when on your PSW, get sponsored post that. There's also another option known as a global talent visa. Okay, I think that's a topic that's very self-explanatory, and y'all can learn it automatically as I speak. Then I just look it up in Google. Actually, to be honest,
Yeah, you were
yeah,
talking about there is another option. From there,
yes,
there was disconnect. Yeah.
yes. There was another option known as a global talent visa, UK.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
but make sure that another thing is that you need to be great at your career. You need to have awards in your hand and everything. So you look it up on Google, guys, and you will have a good understanding as to what the global talent visa. Look up videos, and it's a very easy option to get in the UK if you're not getting a sponsored job. Apart from that, you can get married to a British citizen also. I mean, no, but
That's a shortcut.
yeah, that's a quick way of getting a sponsorship.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
See, Neil, I think right now the kind of population we have it in India, and people are really crazy to study abroad. I get a lot of, recent times. I'm saying that, especially post COVID, I get a lot
Okay.
of parents who comes to me and say like, you know what, we wanted to ensure that my son or daughter should get exposed to the better, what you call as in education standards, right? Again, even our economy is doing much better. Therefore, the people are learning those skills such as entrepreneurship, innovations, technology transfer, coming back to India. they are implementing those learnings and creating jobs for plenty of people over here. What is one thing you wanted to say if somebody do who who is really skeptical in terms of not having funds much and very tight budget and wanted to move to UK, considering that he may be able to survive over there. So, do you say he should take those calculative risks, or he must not go ahead with these options?
Okay, so I have a lot of friends in the UK over there. Some of them have taken calculated risk and come, and it did not turn out well for them. They've been not eating for days. They've been not because see, I'll be very realistic with figures with you. Okay, milk
Correct.
costs 250 rupees for a liter. Okay,
Mm,
bread costs 170 rupees for bread. Your eggs cost a lot more. So
correct.
you cannot have that happening.
You're talking about something in terms of expenditure.
Yes.
Things are quite
So
expensive there in
yes,
UK.
yes. So the cost of living is really high. Firstly, electricity. The cost of electricity if you go to get your own house. Minimum cost every month is around 15,000 rupees with your gas bill. Okay.
Mm,
Then your rent is another 300 to 500 pounds. It makes it to around 70,000 rupees every month. Now that's just
correct.
basic. I'm talking about internet plans is another say 2,000 rupees right there.
Correct.
Then
Correct.
you calculate another more. It will be so it's roughly around 80 to 85,000 or 90,000. Oh, just catch a lakh a year, a month. Okay, just a
Correct.
lakh a month with your rent, your bills, your expense, and it's really expensive. If you're going on a cut-to-cut basis, you're not going to survive there because see, firstly, they don't give you jobs. They look
Mm,
at Indian, they look at Indians and they're like, okay, no, I'm sorry. Firstly,
mm,
that's like
mm,
a thing that I have noticed. Like Indians and Asian people in particular don't get jobs over there. And if you're really good in
mm,
your career and all, then only I say you go. If you're well funded, then you go. Just make sure that you have everything in place so that you, even if there's a fact, like if you fall down somewhere in your career somewhere or there, you don't have money, but you still have money to sustain yourself. That's the main thing, in the UK.
mm.
You should be
Do
able to
do the
sustain yourself.
Yes, yes, yes. Do the Portuguese, the people who hold Portuguese visa, passport, sorry,
Yes.
do they have an added advantage moving to UK?
So the Portuguese visa holders, okay, before Brexit, that was till 2020, had an indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Okay,
Okay.
but post 2020, even a Portuguese passport holder does needs to have a visa to come in. Or either there are different options. You work, get a Portuguese passport, you go to Ireland, work in
Mm,
Ireland for 5 years. Okay, once you get the Irish citizenship, then you switch over to UK. But then again, Ireland is a really good country. Who would want to go to UK after that?
mm. See, people have that perception. I've heard, like, the people in Ireland also struggling.
Yeah.
Ireland is small country area-wise as compared to the UK. So UK had many cities. Of course, the numbers have increased in a larger number. Let me ask you another thing. I just wanted to know, as in, I've got a lot of students who move to UK, and then from there they move to Canada, Australia, US,
Yes.
Netherlands. So
Okay.
how feasible it is for a student to move to other countries from UK?
So number one, UK has a big problem of immigration,
Mm,
where people don't get sponsorships, as we said earlier. So after
mm,
your post-study work permit, what are you going to do? You spend all this money, you recover this money somewhere, but then once you see in the good life, there's no going back to India then. Okay,
correct.
so my suggestion is going to countries like Canada, Australia, where they give you direct PR options. Like Canada
Mm,
gives you direct PR options. Australia gives you direct PR options. Obviously, it's being regional, but as long as you're in their country, as long you're having a better life, as long you're working and proving to themselves that you are capable for the job and you will do the job. And common suggestion: if you go to Dubai or you go to Germany or you go to places like these, language will be a barrier. In Germany, as a place, I have a lot of friends in Germany and Luxembourg and places like these who are going to study. But then again, there is no permanent settlements over there. And
mm,
plus, language is the biggest barrier in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and all these places where people go to work over there. There's no citizenship over there. You can just live there on a visa, and then in the end you have to just leave it and come back.
Hmm.
You know, it's tax free, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, there was an article actually I have come across where a person, and he put it on the Quora. The person said that I always prefer to be a Australian or the Canadian citizen, despite having low wages or low income, compared to having like 7 or 8 figures in Dubai. The reason being,
Hmm.
you work for an economy of a country for many years, and then they still treat you as an outsider.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, so that's the beauty about the countries like Canada and Australia. All right, now. One message, if you would like to give to the aspirants, especially the fresher students, how should they plan their journey if they come to UK in terms of the research, which university or the subjects, and of course for those next 2 years. Right now, the fee is not that expensive for UK because
Yeah.
there are many scholarships, many schemes are going on. People can get into UK in as good as 15 lakh or 12 lakh rupees. There are MBAs in all those programs. So, what is that one specific suggestion you would like to give it to the aspirants or the students who wanted to move to UK?
Firstly, I would tell them congratulations on finishing your bachelor's.
Hmm.
Okay. After that, I would tell them to look into the career fields. Like I'll give you an example. Okay. So if a person has finished his BSc IT, okay, and he's just done with BSc IT and he says, I want to move a master's degree, I would rather suggest him do not run into a master's degree straight ahead. Understand the market, understand what is paying well,
Hmm.
which like like say example, if you take a course in say Cisco, okay, every 3 years you have to keep renewing your course, so that's an added expenditure for you. So you wouldn't would do that, but then check out the pay also for that. If the pay is super good, well, as going
Hmm.
forward, as a technology arises, will that be still in place for the after 10 years? Like, plan that. Do not go to UK straight after your bachelor's without any experience. My personal experience, I have my girlfriend living here right here with me. She did that mistake. She is still currently unemployed.
Hmm.
But then, by the grace of God, she got it somehow. So like she got a good job in Birmingham and she's working well over there.
Hmm.
So do not go as a fresher to UK because it will not end well for you. Because who would want to hire a person from a different country who doesn't speak the same language, doesn't understand the values nor the cultures of the country?
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Right. Uh, so the other thing I just wanted to ask you your research part, as in I've
Hmm.
also like in a private conversation I've heard that while in India you did some fantastic jobs in your field in what you call in cybersecurity, that your contribution towards
Yes.
your company, and
Yes.
then of course you were trying to put it onto the bigger scale. So what are those contributions you have done it in cybersecurity, and your passion about this subject is something I'm really excel the moment I heard from you. So why is that you're very keen about the cybersecurity and the kind of contribution you want to make in this field?
So number one, I was always that kind of person who would like to help people. Okay. And I started off with my dad over here. He was a director of a company, so he just got my first computer back home. And as a kid, I always had this kind of bug in me. I'm like, let me just go open this stuff. Let me see how it works. So that's where I understood. I like to understand the functioning of as to how everything happens.
Hmm.
So, so I started with there. Then I started working on computers. I started doing a lot of different things. So
Hmm.
1 second here. Sorry, my phone was actually ringing. Sorry,
Yes,
Vikas.
yes.
I'll just start again. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as a child, I was a geek. I used to like opening a lot of things, understanding how the functioning happens and everything like that. But then as time went on, I'm like, okay, once I finished my 12th, and I'm like, okay, this is not going to help me much, like I need to do something better. So I joined NIT. Okay. I learned how computers function and how networks function. Then I got my Cisco degrees. I got my CCNA. I got my CCNP, and I did my Microsoft MCSA, MCP. Then I did my postgraduate. Then I was working with a company in Pune as a network manager, where I train individuals in a training center. Then after from
Mm.
there, from network engineer, they hired me to IT manager. Then I came back to India, to Mumbai because my dad's health was kind of sick, and my dad passed away also in 2019. So before
Sorry
that,
to
I
hear.
joined a company in Mumbai as an again as an engineer again, because even in IT when you keep changing fields you have to drop down one level, like and then grow back again. So then they promoted me back to IT manager. Then over there I helped them harden their systems. There was like around 39 branches which I had to handle all around India. So I had to train them about cybersecurity, how to not open different links that will exploit the company's data, or harm people, or harm the information that we have, or anything of such. I have to develop applications for them. I should make sure that everything is working perfectly fine. I had times where I used to work with the Mumbai police also, where I set up their own networks also for them. With my friend Deepak, he helped me around with this. So the wireless networks that we had, we were not working, most of them, and most of the vans used to not work. We had to set an alternate route and set the alternator straight on top of the radio signals on top of each state police station. So we had to connect them all together individually, check the range, how it works. So it gets very technical from there. And then after that, I had a good job in the school. So after this job, I went to the UK. I used to work in a primary school, in a Catholic primary school. But the irony,
Mm.
these guys asked me for my birth certificate, my baptism certificate. I'm like, for a job, why are you asking me my baptism certificate? And
Mm.
it was kind of funny, but then again, they gave me the job. I worked 1 year. I trained teachers, I trained students as to safe usage of computer, and practical, and how to practically do everything from day to day on the computer. Then after that, I got a job in University of Huddersfield, where I was a bright space IT support officer, where I used to help students with their queries. It was more of like a help desk kind of job, more than a cybersecurity job. But then after that, I quit the job after 4 months, and I got a really good job at Bet 365, where I work as an IT support engineer and a cybersecurity engineer over there. I work night shifts, and it's a very lovely company. It's based worldwide, all around the globe actually, just in Asia, because there are some gambling laws that don't let them come in the country.
Oh, okay. All right. I also wanted to know the social life, as in the comparison between India and the UK.
Oh, okay. So over here, to be very honest, so in India, you know how if you know your neighbor, you'll be talking to these guys like always, and you'll be conversing with them with every league of your life. But in the
Correct.
UK, what I have noticed, people don't know each other. Been living for 15 years. Okay, the police will one day come up to the door, like, "Oh, do you know your neighbor that committed suicide?" I'm like, "Who is my neighbor?" That's the
Mm.
question that they
Okay.
keep. And then I feel like it depends on person to person how social you are, how you can break that gap.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, my last question to you,
Yeah.
for the viewers, because somewhere I have noticed, and with you and a lot of my students who have moved to a different locations from UK, and of course, some of them also got settled in UK with the sponsored visas. So, is it something like you are settled in UK? I mean, you just keep on trying those options after completion of your education. Yes, you have your PSWs and you may have a job, but you can't just sit idle, is it? You just have to keep on trying various options. Am I right?
Number one is you get your PSW. That's not the end of the world. Okay. You need
Right.
get your see. So it's life is always like a target to target to target to target. And once you're
Correct.
leaving India, the target is to leave India. Once you finish, the target is to finish education. Once you finish that, your target is to get your PSW. When you finish your the target is to get your uh, sponsorship. Once the sponsorship, or your next target is to get your citizenship. After your
Correct.
citizenship target is to get your house. So life is all about goals. So if you stop somewhere and stop being proactive, you will not reach your goal, and you will not reach where you need to be at your highest point, ISP. So my suggestion is it's not all it's not about trying. It's like getting better, 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 better. That's a better word as to what you are saying. So you always to
Correct.
get better, you need to try and you need to be proactive. You cannot be like, okay, fine, I got my visa, I'm okay. But it's not going to you're not going to reach your goals. You're not going to get highness.
Which company do you work with? I
I
know
work
for
for,
sure.
I work for
Yeah.
Bet 365.
What this company is all about.
It's all about online gambling business.
Okay.
Yes.
And
And
you work as an expert.
I work in the IT support department over there.
IT support.
Yes.
Okay. Fabulous, fabulous. All right, then I think a lot of insights you have provided. Thank you so much for joining us, and this will immensely help many students who are planning to go to UK. Guys, yes, the university standards are brilliant. The community is good. The social life is fantastic. But just be very much sure in terms of your, your research. Might as well, if you need to take some experience in India, take it, and then you plan, or there are opportunities, in various parts of the world as well. So on this note, thanks for joining, Neil. I really appreciate your time and patience. Wish
Yes.
you all the best for your future. And Divya, I know you met me, and then you said that your plan for the future is this. So
Yes.
yes, keep rocking.
Thank
You are
you.
one of the best students I had ever had in my life, as in the kind of insights you have provided. This will immensely help our students too. Thank you so much, and God bless you, bro. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye. See you. Yeah, fantastic.